My name is Sherry. Standing on this stage, holding the Community Service Award in my hand, I look out into the applauding crowd. I spot my parents across the room. Their expressions are a mix of shock and discomfort. This moment is the culmination of a long journey, one that began with a betrayal so deep it changed me forever. I remember the day I was wheeled into the hospital for surgery. The beeping of the machines didn't bring me comfort. Instead, it felt like a countdown to a new chapter, one where I stopped relying on my family. My mother, Mrs. Thompson, knew I was in the hospital, yet she chose to attend my sister Lily's 25th birthday party. The missed calls on my phone were a cruel reminder of her priorities. The last text she sent simply said, "We need to talk," nothing about my well-being or that they were on their way. As the nurse pushed my bed towards the operating room, the antiseptic smell filled the air, and my gown clung to my damp skin. Through the small window in the hors d'oeuvres, I saw the bright surgical light. My heart raced, and I closed my eyes, picturing Lily's happy face on Instagram, surrounded by birthday balloons, and my mother's hand holding a glass of champagne. I decided then that when I woke up, I wouldn't chase after their love and approval anymore. When I finally regained consciousness, the first thing I noticed was the thin morning sunlight filtering through the blinds, creating patterns on the white wall. The second thing was the deafening silence. No flowers, no cards, and definitely no family. A nurse came in, asking how I was. My throat was dry, and when she asked if my ride was coming, I whispered that no one was coming. The pity in her eyes made me angry. My phone was filled with unread messages. The first from my mother was about the insurance money, not about how the surgery went or if I was okay. Lily's message said I could have rescheduled. I set the phone down and was wheeled out of the hospital. As I waited for the shuttle on the curb, I watched other families being reunited with love and care. I knew then that my home, the place I once associated with family, was just a concept they had shattered. I went back to my small, quiet apartment. When my mother called for a video chat, I let it ring. Her next text was about my uncle asking about me. I realized it was all a show for others. That's when I decided to make my absence known. I went silent on social media, stopped attending family events without explanation. I watched as Lily posted pictures from her birthday party, with my mother commenting with heart emojis, as if nothing had happened. I started reaching out to relatives. Uncle Tom, who always remembered my birthday, was shocked when I asked if my mother had told him about my surgery. He had no idea. I also contacted a cousin in Florida and an aunt in California. Each time, I simply stated the facts. They knew I was in the hospital, they didn't visit, and they only called after it was over. A week later, my mother called to scold me for making them look bad. I told her I was just telling the truth. The next day, Lily texted, asking me not to make it public. I reminded her that she had made it public by posting those happy pictures while I was in the hospital. As the weeks passed, the whispers started. People were calling my parents, asking questions. I posted a photo of a hospital wristband on my kitchen counter with a caption about recovering alone. The comments poured in, and the speculation grew. I posted again, this time a photo of a get well card from a coworker, highlighting how some people cared more than my own family. My mother's messages changed from scolding me for making them look bad to accusing me of twisting the narrative and hurting the family. But I knew the real hurt had started when they left me alone in the hospital. An old family friend, Mrs. Jenkins, messaged me to say she was sorry and that she would talk to my mother. I knew then that the word was spreading, and their reputation was starting to crack. When Lily's engagement party came around, I didn't go. The photos showed fewer guests and stiff smiles. Their public image was starting to crumble. Then came the charity gala. Normally, my mother would be the center of attention. But this year, I was the one on the guest list. I arrived with Mrs. Jenkins on one arm and Uncle Tom on the other. People were surprised and started whispering. The local paper ran a photo of me at the event, and my mother's absence was obvious. She texted me, saying I was embarrassing myself. I ignored her and sent a $500 donation to the gala organizers in honor of those who stand by you in tough times. The fall charity auction was another opportunity for me. My parents used to rent a lakeside cabin every summer, a place where my mother would make me feel like an outsider. I bid on the weekend stay at the cabin and won. I went there alone, took pictures, and posted them with captions about leaving behind the traditions that no longer served me. My mother and Lily texted me, asking me to take the posts down, but I ignored them. What they didn't know was that I had also won a hand-crafted quilt at the auction. I donated it back to the women's shelter in my family's name. The director thanked the Thompson family publicly, and the photo made it into the local paper. I decided to take the final step and change my last name. Sitting in the county clerk's office, I signed the form, choosing my grandmother's maiden name, Parker. When my new driver's license arrived, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. My family found out about the name change through a loan officer at the bank. They called, leaving voicemails filled with guilt and anger, but I didn't reply. I sent a fresh donation to the shelter under my new name, and the post on the shelter's social media got more likes than ever. Finally, I received an invitation to the city's annual Community Awards banquet. I'd been nominated for my work with the women's shelter. I requested a table at the very front, one row closer than my parents. On the night of the banquet, I wore a deep emerald dress that caught the light. As my name, Sherry Parker, was announced, there was a brief pause in the room. People looked at my parents and then at me. I walked to the stage slowly. When I spoke, I said, I stand here tonight not because I had everything given to me, but because I learned how to build from nothing. Some of us are lucky enough to be born into support. Others have to find it along the way. I found mine in the most unexpected places, and I'll spend the rest of my life making sure no one feels they have to go through life alone. The room went silent. I saw my mother's jaw tighten and my father stare at his plate. After the ceremony, people came to congratulate me. Some asked about my name change and my story, but I didn't need to say much. The silence said it all. The next morning, the city paper ran a front-page photo of me on stage with the award. That photo spread everywhere. It wasn't about fame, it was about erasing the version of me they tried to control. For the first time in my life, I didn't care what they thought. I had won my freedom.